My name is Kathy Smalls. I'm a native of Mount Pleasant, South Carolina, a retiree from Charleston County School District, and a member of the Avery Institute Board of Trustees. A major factor in the development of culture is communication. The information in the following presentation is designed to introduce you to the Gullah Geechie language and culture that developed during the era of slavery in the Southeast. The language is unique in that it began with enslaved men, women, and children who found themselves in a new land where they knew no one, knew nothing about the language nor the culture. Although they were from the continent of Africa, they did not all speak the same language or dialects. In order to communicate with each other and Europeans, they needed a common language. The term to describe the language became Gullah Geechie. Please listen as Dr. Jessica Berry, the Department Chair of Speech Pathology at South Carolina State University and a native of Berkeley County, shares some of the historic information on the Gullah Geechie culture and the development of this language, Gullah Geechie. We hope that this will instill a certain amount of pride in the fact that these enslaved people living in a hopeless situation were able to create the means to communicate with Europeans and each other and change the course of their existence. Their influences can still be felt today.
Hi friends, it's Dr. Jessica Berry, aka the Geechie Scholar, and I am so very excited to spend a few moments today talking to you about the Gullah Geechie language. For those of you who don't know, Gullah Geechie benya, and it ain't going no way. So look, let me tell you a little bit about who I am. I am Dr. Jessica Berry, and I'm from a little small town outside of Mount Pleasant and Daniel Island, kind of right in the middle, and it's called Geechie, South Carolina. And it is a Gullah Geechie community. Today, we are going to really learn about the importance of celebrating Gullah Geechie as a living language and the importance of keeping Gullah Geechie. You're going to be able to describe what the Gullah Geechie language and culture is. You're going to hear what the language sounds like, and you're going to discuss what it means to code switch. So let's talk about what the Gullah Geechie language is. Gullah Geechie is not just a language, but it is the culture, the people, and the language. It's all of those things put together. And it's really important that when we think about the language, we don't think about it as just Gullah Geechie language, but we also attribute Gullah Geechie to the people who hold the language on their tongues and the culture that we get to celebrate every single day. So how did Gullah Geechie get here? That's a great question. Well, some time ago, there was a situation called the transatlantic slave trade, where Africans were taken from Africa, in particular, Senegambia, Sierra Leone, the Gold Coast of Africa, because they had engineered some systems to cultivate rice. And I know lots of you like to eat rice. It's a staple in our meals. So they took those Africans from their homes across the Atlantic Ocean and brought them over to the United States to work as slaves. One thing that's important to keep in mind as we think about who these people were, they did not take slaves. That's not who they took. They did take doctors, lawyers, botanists, chemists, dentists, teachers, engineers. That's who they took. These people were brilliant, and they were living their lives, and they were taken from their homes across the water, and this is where they landed: in North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, and Florida. In 2006, the Gullah Geechee Cultural Heritage Corridor came about. And in the corridor is where we celebrate Gullah and actively preserve all of the spaces that are known to be Gullah Geechee spaces. I bet you can show on this map exactly where you live, probably in Berkeley County or Charleston County, or various areas across the corridor. And what we know from this information is that over 40% of those Africans who were taken from Africa landed in South Carolina and then were sent across the corridor to serve, to work without pay as slaves. They were enslaved, and that's where they lived. So let's go a little bit further. How did this happen? The water birthed a language. When these enslaved Africans were put on the ships and brought across the Atlantic Ocean, they were not put on the boats with their family and friends. They were put on the boats with other Africans who spoke other languages that they didn't speak. And so they had to learn how to communicate with one another in ways that we would never truly understand. And so that means that Gullah Geechee is uniquely American, but proudly African. My good friend, Dr. Keisha Bryan, coined that phrase. And I think it's so powerful for us to know that although Gullah is American, it is also African. It is the merger of the African culture and the American culture, and it's what we know as Gullah Geechee. So let's take a little while to look at the Gullah Geechee language. Here's a fun fact. Gullah Geechee is a recognized language in the United States. I bet you didn't know that. It is a real, live, living language. Let's learn some more about what this language is. So Gullah is a Creole language. And I'm going to share with you what that means. The enslaved Africans who came over on those ships during the transatlantic slave trade spoke many different African languages, to include Yoruba and Mende and Hitu and Geechee and Creole. And they weren't able to speak to the slave masters. So what they did is they learned all the English that they could, and they mixed it with their African language to create a pidgin, which is basically just a language that they use to communicate and to do their jobs. Well, then that pidgin is what they taught to their children, and that became their very first language. So those children didn't speak the African languages like Yoruba, Mende, and Hintu. They spoke the Creole variety, which we now know is the Gullah Geechee language. Some people ask me the question all the time, Dr. Berry, what's the difference between Gullah and Geechee? Well, I like to say this. There is no difference. Gullah, Geechee language and people are one people, one culture, and one language. But I will share with you what some scholars believe. They believe that Gullah comes from the Gullah, Angola people. The word Geechee comes from the Geechee people or the Ogeechee River in Georgia. We also know that some of the older people, like my grandma, spoke more Gullah because she used a lot more African words when she spoke than I would. And so people in my age range, and perhaps even yours, speak more Geechee. So there are some age differences and even some location differences where the people who live on islands like Guatemala and James Island and Johns Island may say that they are Gullah, while people who live in Hughie, like where I'm from, more inland, we identify more as Geechee or Gullah Geechee. But all in all, what we know is that Gullah Geechee people are one people with one language and one culture. And guess what? I want you to remember, Gullah Geechee is a language. Let's keep going, guys. I hope you're enjoying it so far. I want you to know about culture keepers. And I want you to put your thinking hats on and think about how you can be a keeper of the Gullah Geechee culture. So, fun fact, some people believe that the Gullah Geechee language and culture is dead or dying. However, there are documented that over 10,000 speakers of the language are living right now and speaking the Gullah Geechee language. That's a lot of people. And I'm sure they really still don't know exactly how many people speak the Gullah Geechee language, but it's definitely not dead and it's definitely not dying. And it's important that we work to keep the cultural legacies. And those cultural legacies include things like fishing and crabbing and digging for oysters and having oyster roasts and crab cracks and those get-togethers, making the sweetgrass baskets that you see in the background of this picture. All of those things represent the Gullah Geechee language, history, and culture. It represents the Gullah Geechee people in a beautiful way that needs to be preserved. Also, in the Gullah Geechee culture are the remnants of an African sound. And that sound is called a polyrhythm. A polyrhythm is the blending of multiple rhythms that don't really go together, but they sound like they go together. And so we, in the Gullah Geechee culture, we do this thing called a double clap. And it sounds like this. Benya, bless my soul and he gone to glory. Benya, bless my soul and he gone. I bet you've heard that double clap before. Come on, try it with me. You ready? You got it. Ah, yeah. That rhythm is unique to the Gullah Geechee people. It's not a rhythm that you're going to hear around the world, but you might hear it in Africa because it's directly connected to those people that came from Sierra Leone and Angola and the Senegambia region of Africa. And we, the Gullah Geechee people, have been able to hold on to that rhythm for as long as Gullah Geechee people have been here. And that's something that we should be so excited about and so very, very proud of, preserving our cultural legacies. We're also preserving our culinary traditions. What does that mean? We still get to cook the foods that are super unique to Gullah Geechee people. On the left, you see okra soup. Yum, 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 yum. And on the right, you see red rice. Now, I know y'all boy like red rice. And in the red rice, you got to have the sausages and the bell pepper and the onion and a little bit of bacon in there too. But red rice is known in Africa as jollof rice. And we have been able to keep that tradition of making red rice that is very unique and well known across the country as a traditional Gullah Geechee dish. So I think you should tell your friends when they eat red rice, that's Gullah Geechee red rice. So we're preserving the cultural legacies, the culinary traditions, and then there are some people that I think you should know who are culture keepers. And a culture keeper is a person who is actively working to keep the Gullah Geechee traditions alive. A few culture keepers that you should know. Queen Quet, chiefess of the Gullah Geechee Nation. She was one of the first to stand in front of the United Nations to proclaim that the Gullah Geechee people are a living and an anointed people. You should probably know who she is. Mr. KJ Kearney, my very good friend, is another culture keeper who is working to preserve the legacy of Black food across the country. But he lives right in North Charleston and works in the schools with some of you kiddos. You should know Mr. Kearney. A few more culture keepers that are important for you to know. Aunt Pearlie Sue. She is a storyteller who shares all of the Gullah Geechee stories from Wamala and Johns Island and James Island and St. Helena. She is a culture keeper. And Chef BJ Dennis. He is one of the most amazing chefs who is actively working to keep the culinary traditions, the food traditions of the Gullah Geechee people alive. So I have a question for you. Are you a culture keeper? I heard a big yes. Let me ask one more time because some of you may have had to think about it, but are you a culture keeper? Yes, I believe you are. And it's so very, very, very important that you latch on to this idea of knowing that Gullah Geechee Benya, and it ain't going nowhere. We have to keep this culture alive. And in order to do that, we have to use this language. And what does it mean to use this language? It means that what we have to do is code switch. So let's talk a little bit about what it means to code switch. Code switching is the practice of kind of alternating between two or more language or varieties of languages in conversation. Everybody code switches. Everybody goes between languages and goes between styles when they talk to different people. And several people switch when they talk about when they use their language. I bet you heard your mom on the phone, and let me give you an example of what that's like. When she says, Johnny, what are you doing in that room down there? And then the phone rings and she goes, hello, how are you? Yeah. And she switches to her bill collector voice. That is code switching, and all of us do it. Those of us who use our Gullah Geechee language, we get to switch between Gullah and mainstream English. But remember when I said that Gullah is a language, that language has rules. So in Gullah, we say something like, "It gonna be all right," or "It gonna be all right." In African American English, they say, "He gonna be all right." And in mainstream English, they will say, he's going to be all right. So you can see that Gullah has a structure. Gullah is its own language. In Gullah, we say, but not gone. And in mainstream, we say, he left a long time ago. You see how I'm switching between those? That's code switching. How about this one? You see Jessica, any? You see Jessica yesterday, any? Or did you see Jessica yesterday? Those are just a few examples of what it sounds like to go between Gullah and go between mainstream English, understanding that both of those ways to talk are okay. So just as well as there are rules to the Gullah Geechee language, we also need to know that those of you who speak the language, who speak Gullah Geechee, who live in the community, you are special people. And you should know that your language is not broken. That the way you speak is a vestige. It's something to hold on to from our ancestors in the past. So let's look at a few Gullah words. You guys ready? Can somebody tell me what this is? If you said a turtle, you're close. But in Gullah Geechee, that's a cutter. That's a cutter. That's what that is. How about these people right here? Somebody tell me, who are these? Oh, yeah, you said it. Those are kids or those are children, right? Well, in Gullah Geechee, them the churn. Chillin' or churn. How about this? Well, in the Gullah Geechee language, when we want to hear something, it's yeti. We don't say hey, you say ana yeti wife for say, ana chillin' yeti wife for say. And what does that mean? Did you children hear what I said? Gullah Geechee Benya. And it ain't going no way. So I hope you guys have heard the Gullah language, heard some of the Gullah words that you may hear around where you live. Yeti and ana for you, and chullin and churn and kutta for the turtle. Gullah Geechee is a beautiful language. This young lady is so happy, and I'm sure it is, because she celebrates, just like we should, that Gullah Geechee is a beautiful language that we should all love and cherish. So, here are a few things to remember. Gullah is a language, and Gullah Geechee has rules. People who speak the Gullah Geechee language are bilingual, just like people who speak Spanish or French. People who speak Gullah Geechee are speaking a living language that is recognized in the United States of America. Remember, it's okay to code switch when you want to. Sometimes people will tell you when you're home, you use your home voice, and when you go to school, you use your school voice. You get to decide when you want to code switch, and deciding to use your Gullah voice and your Gullah language is something that you should be proud of. Gullah Geechee is not broken English. It's not slang, and it should be celebrated because Gullah Geechee, bunya, and he ain't going nowhere. The last thing you need to do, I'm telling you to be proud. Be proud of who you are. Be proud of where you come from. This is the dirt road I grew up on. And I took my babies down there so they could see where I came from. That small Gullah Geechee community in Geechie, South Carolina is where I was raised and where I learned to be proud of being Gullah Geechee. Unique and excited and happy about this language that we get to call our own. So I hope I'm chilling. Sit down there and yeti wanna for see and tell him the look ya. He all right to crack his teeth like this, and speak the Gullah Geechee language as much as he want to, and understand Gullah Geechee banya. He ain't going nowhere. He gotta stay. And if I need to say yeti a little bit more, yeti exactly what the people been saying about Gullah Geechee language out in the street, and keep them live. Don't let them go on dead. Don't let them go on dead. I am happy that you guys have sat with me this entire time. And I hope you've learned a little bit about the Gullah Geechee language. And I hope you are proud now to go out and say, I'm Gullah Geechee and I'm proud. I'm Gullah Geechee and I'm bilingual. And I celebrate my language. I use it proudly. I code switch when I want to. And I wear my Gullah Geechee with pride. I hope you guys continue to do well. And I look forward to seeing you soon. And I look forward to listening to Anna crack on the teeth like this in the Gullah Geechee language. All right, kids. It's been real. Take care. Bye.